one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tori. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Ballesteros,
Present.
Commissioner Goodwin,
Present.
Commissioner Miller,
Present.
Okay, to number 3, do we have anybody from the public that wants to comment or address the personnel committee meeting? Nobody?
I do not see any members of the public.
Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead now and, or if somebody happens to chime in, we'll let them speak. So we'll go to the approval, to number 4, approval of the minutes of the Personnel Committee held on March 21st. 2022, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, Commissioner Goodwin made the motion and Commissioner Miller seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Ballesteros,
Yes.
Commissioner Goodwin,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
So now we're gonna go, is it to the resolution 054? It's to update to the 700 form and conflict of interest, correct?
Yeah, so the Housing Authority has a conflict of interest policy, and the commissioners see it annually when they're asked to sign and disclose if there are conflicts. What the policy does not have, Gabriella, can you share that again? Is a conflict of interest code. And the conflict of interest code is required under the Political Reform Act. And what it does is it says who needs to fill out a Form 700 and what levels of disclosure are required by the different levels. And we don't have one of those for the agency that I could find. And it seems like the past practice has been commissioners are asked to fill out the Form 700 and the executive director perhaps, but the regulations governing Form 700 are much more broad than just those limited roles. So what I've done, if we scroll down to the actual policy, is I modeled this off the Santa Clara Housing Authority, so we can go next page. Next page down, I'm sorry. I modeled this after the Santa Clara one. So just one more page down. And so the committee or the Board of Commissioners could choose to change who are in different categories as well as what the disclosure levels are. But in the draft policy, commissioners, the executive director, general counsel, director and board members of affiliate corporations, director of finance, director of housing programs, housing management, and housing development would all have to be category 1. And then category 2 would be other people who make decisions or participate in making decisions that could have a material effect on the financial interest of the position holder. And so that's the asset manager, accounting supervisor, the FSS supervisor, housing development project manager, maintenance supervisor, the MC manager, procurement and contracts manager, property management supervisor, quality control manager. And they are in category 2, which is a lower disclosure. And then category 3 it covers consultants that the HACM may hire that would be in a position of making decisions that could have a financial impact on the interest of the position holder. For consultant, and again, this was taken out of the Santa Clara example, a consultant could be exempted if the executive director did so in writing, but generally they would not, and the consultants were held to the highest level of disclosure. And so then if we go to the next page, it shows the disclosure categories. So the folks in category 1 would have all interests in real property located in the county or less than 2 miles from the boundary of the county, and any investments, business positions, sources of income in or from any source that is located in, doing business in, or planning to do business in, or has done business in the past 2 years within the county of Monterey. And then the lower level of disclosure for some of the other folks would say that the investments, business positions, and sources of income would have to be in real property, provision of goods and equipment and things that the housing authority typically uses, or services that the housing authority typically uses. So whereas in category 1, if somebody has a side business and they're, joint owner of a pizza shop, they would have to disclose that. But if in category 2, you may not have to disclose the pizza shop because the housing authority doesn't routinely buy pizza for everyone. Now, if the housing authority was routinely buying pizza from everyone, then you would have to disclose it. But if you were in category 2 and you were a landlord, that you would have to disclose. And then category 3 was the consultant category, which says the broadest disclosure category, which would be category 1, although the executive director may determine that their range of duties is limited in scope and not required to fully comply. So I think this is just a kind of a helpful cleanup, and it is a compliance issue that the housing authority is covered by the Political Reform Act, does need to comply with it, and does need to have a code saying who is covered, who is not covered, and what levels of disclosure. And so I think the questions for the subcommittee are, first of all, do I have the right people, positions covered? Do I need to add more? Do I need to take some away? And then on the disclosures for mainly the 2 different categories, are we comfortable with these different levels of disclosure for these different positions? And so that's really the question, I think, for the committee to discuss.
So does anybody have any questions for Tori?
I don't have any questions. I think that it covers the people that should be filling things out, Tori. It looks like those should be people that I think, from my understanding of the 700 stuff, should be disclosing. So I think you did a great job on it.
And as a FYI, I went ahead and I filled out a form 700 because I was like, wait, I'm definitely covered by this. And I need to see what it's like. And so I went through it. I think from a practical standpoint, once the board approves this, we will do some meetings and trainings with the people who are covered to walk them through kind of what's covered, what's not covered, and help people get compliant so that we can get those in. We give people the option of either using the county system, which is an online system, or doing a paper copy.
Okay. Mayor Goodwin, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. So Tori, so this is what I'm gonna say. So with what we're doing is you're setting up a code, a policy code, right?
Yep.
Okay. I know, because I already filled out I know for this year, I filled out my 700 form and I also did my conflict of interest form already. I usually know that that's the norm, so I know I took care of mine. So we'll go ahead. Is this gonna be on new business for the board meeting on Monday?
Yes.
Okay. So we just, do I have a motion for us? Do we have to make a motion to move it to the agenda?
I think that's entirely up to the committee. I'm not sure how, whether you've always taken a vote or not.
I think we do. Go
I'll make
ahead.
that motion.
Okay. I do have a,
I'll second it.
okay. So we could take a vote and we'll vote on it to move it to the consent as new business to the consent agenda for the board.
Yeah, I mean, the board may want to talk about it. I'm not sure I would
Yes.
put it right on consent.
Okay. So we'll just put it as new business.
Yeah, that's what I'd recommend.
Okay. Thank you. So now we're gonna go to number 6, information, letter A, HR scorecard.
Yeah, so the update, I don't have a scorecard. We are getting up to speed in the HR department,
Okay.
but we are not there yet.
All right.
I have made an offer to someone to be the HR director. And I've also made an offer to someone to be the director of finance. Those are the big updates. In both cases, but more so with HR, they are negotiating with me. The HR director position has a posted range of $75,000 to $105,000. And the candidate was making substantially more than that. We had 2 finalists, both of them were making more than that. And I don't know necessarily what our internal policy is when we're trying to hire for a position and it's outside the salary range. Normally, I think that's just an executive director's call, but I figured I would mention it to you all. I think that the market has definitely moved, and that we're going to have a hard time finding a qualified person for 105.
Yeah.
So I'm prepared to make a counter offer to the individual.
Yeah.
But I'm also sensitive to, we don't want to just start blowing the salary budget up.
Yeah.
The other thing that we need to talk about in the HR space, so California has a law that says for exempt employees, so salaried employees, that they need to be paid a certain amount, and it changes every year, and it's some formula based on what the California minimum wage is. But that works out to a little over $62,000 a year. And right now, we have a handful of exempt employees who make below that. And whether or not they were in compliance in the past and through inflation, they're now no longer in compliance, or whether the housing authority just hasn't been in compliance, I'm not sure. But those are some changes that will have to be made. And basically, there's really only two choices. One choice is to increase salaries. The other choice is to change the job description so that they are no longer exempt. That you need to be very careful with, because changing people from exempt to non-exempt just to get around a salary rule, you get heavily penalized for, and that's a big no-no. But if the job can be framed in such a way that it is non-exempt and you change the job description, that's the other choice. So we're going to have to look at this handful of folks and make some decisions there. Other than that, we are continuing to try to hire for vacant positions. I don't think we had any attrition this past month that comes to mind. So we're starting to make some progress, it feels like, on getting positions filled.
Okay. So, I wanted to, I know that in the past, when there's been vacancies, the executive director has, when we would have the personnel, they would let us know, this is how this is going, this is how that is going. And usually, the executive director will let us know, they hired somebody, because that is their responsibility. And then usually it's on the board agenda when they put, they hired this new person. Another thing is, I'm glad that you're being transparent to let us know, that you're negotiating. And you're right, that because of inflation or the economy has changed dramatically, that a lot of the salaries have been going up. So I think just as long as you mention it in the board, at the board meeting on Monday, and you bring it up and then answer, whatever questions any of the other commissioners may have. And then, of course, I don't know if Commissioner Miller or Commissioner Goodwin have some questions for you, but I fully understand, especially because I've, been on the board for a number of years. And I've seen that we've been made aware of the process. So go ahead, Commissioner Miller, do you have anything to say?
No, I don't have any questions. I believe that it's got to be you got to have the ability to negotiate those things.
Yes.
And, keeping in account, where we are fiscally with salaries and stuff. So I have no issue with it at all. So I'm excited that we could have those two executive positions filled
Yes.
in the near future.
Yes.
Commissioner Goodwin?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. No, I don't have any comments. I agree with Commissioner Miller.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I think just as long as you, Tori, you share with the board on Monday and let them make them aware. Do you want to give an update how we're going with the ad hoc committee? We're trying to get together to meet.
We are trying to get together to meet, and that has been difficult with everyone's schedule and with the two county commissioners' schedules, but we're hopefully getting closer to starting the first round interviews.
Yes. Yes. Okay, anything else?
Not in the HR space.
Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and move to letter B, housing programs.
Good
Maria?
afternoon. Yeah, I was just turning on my
Okay.
mute. Good afternoon. As you can see, there is my board report for the HCV department. I just want to let the board know that I'm planning on opening our waiting list for Rippling River. As you could see, our number has gotten down. So we're working with some families right now. We have a few vacancies, which we have ready. So I'm planning on opening the waiting list next week, and it is going to be online. This is only going to be for Rippling River in Carmel Valley. We're also working on getting more of the emergency housing voucher families to be interviewed. We have some coming up on the 19th, and then on the 26th and the 28th, so we could start scheduling more of the EHVs. I'm also going to be working with my staff on scheduling just the regular housing choice voucher program, so we could start utilizing some of the homeless set aside vouchers. So because as you can see, we have 113 families, and our total housing homeless set aside vouchers, we have 200. So we want to be able to bring up our numbers so we could get 200 families leased. I also am working on, we're getting ready to start our inspections. That's going to be coming up next month. Because of our waivers, we need to start getting all our inspections done so we could be in compliance. I also included in the utilization chart, I believe one of the commissioners wanted me to put the budget utilization and the unit utilization, so I did put the percentages. It's going to fluctuate every month because it all depends how we're being funded. And for the HCV, for example, for family unification, the budget authority is blended into the regular the HCV. So it's really difficult for me to figure out the percentage for the family unification. I'm still going to be working with Tori, how we could kind of break it down so the board would have a understanding how our utilization is being rated. But I did put it on my board report. So going forward, I'll be putting that information if the board has any questions. And staff still continues of new voucher holders. We are introducing them to the FSS. As you could see, we have 200 slots. We just have 80 families participating. So we are, trying to put out more briefings so we could talk to our clients to see if they're interested in the FSS program. So we're working with that also to increase our number.
Okay. Any questions for Maria? I have one question for you, Maria. So you know how HDC is, we're all, it's gonna be together. So the housing programs later on in the future include HDC property.
That's more on the management side. So this report has always been focused on the vouchers.
Okay.
And what'll combine is Jose's report and Carolina's report.
Okay, just wondering. It was just a question that came, I've been storing it in my mind. Okay, thank you.
No, this only pertains to the housing choice programs.
Okay, got it. Got it. Thank you, Maria.
You're welcome.
Questions for Maria? Commissioner Miller or Commissioner Goodwin?
I have none. Thank you for your report, though.
Welcome.
Commissioner Miller? Commissioner Goodwin?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're gonna go to commissioner comments. We'll start with Commissioner Miller.
Not really a bunch. Like I said, I'm just I'm excited that we're getting close to filling some of these executive positions that will give people that are currently working a little more latitude to do some of the stuff that they need to do without having to wear so many hats. So that would be it. And thank you for everyone at the authority for all their hard work. Thank
you. Commissioner Goodwin.
Ditto what Commissioner Miller said, and hope everybody has a good rest of the week. And I'll see you guys on Monday.
All right. And I just want to thank all the staff. Tori, thank you for all the information, and Gabriella. And also, yes, I look forward us getting more people to qualify for the in Rippling River, getting some opening up some slots. So thank you, Maria, for that. And so with that, I'm gonna close the meeting at 2:58 p.m. and we'll see you all on Monday. Thank you, Tori.
Take care.
Gabrielle.